Sometimes, as the popular phrase goes, the answer is in the room. And while many people were out there pushing for the 49ers to make a big move at wide receiver before the trade deadline, the San Francisco 49ers kept it steady. They knew they were ready to promote from within and give 1-5 former a chance to play at the X position for the first time in the big leagues. Well, this man, Jwan Jennings, is suiting up again Sunday. He's healthy, ready to go in the X position against the Seattle Seahawks. And just wait till you hear what Kyle Shanahan just said this morning about how important he is now that Aiyuk is, of course, out for the rest of the season. By the way, I'm Nate, and I make daily 49ers content. Please subscribe if that's what you're looking for. Well, Jwan Jennings had a heck of a game last week in the X position, making big catches, making big blocks, and of course, a critical fumble recovery that really could have been the game changer for the 49ers. First time in the X position, and he impressed. Kyle Shanahan spoke with NBC Sports today. Well, actually, it came out today, and here is what Kyle Shanahan said about Jwan Jennings in the X position.
Yes, yeah, and X is the receiver who lines up away from the tight end. We motion so much that all our guys eventually do become interchangeable, but the Z and the Y always start on the same side, and the Y is the tight end, so the Z is always the starting guy off the ball, so it's much easier to move Z's and F's around. The F is the third receiver who comes in. When it's not a third receiver, we call the F Juice. He's our fullback, so Jwan's always been the F. When Juice is off the field, Jwan's on, and then he's rotated with Deebo in at the Z position, and now Ricky's kind of taken that spot over, and we moved Jwan to be A spot, and he did a hell of a job at it.
Which is great there. Now, if you're not blown away by that, that's okay. The big move, of course, is that Jwan Jennings made this switch to the X position, and he did really, really well. So well, in fact, this is what Kyle Shanahan said after the game about Jwan Jennings' future in the X position.
Jwan Jennings, how much did it help the offense get that today as well?
Oh, huge. Jwan's been a stud all year. He's been a stud his whole career here, but we especially losing BA, we needed to get Jwan back in a starting position, and this is his first time ever playing X position, which he'll be doing the rest of the year. So he did.
So there you go. He did so well that he's going to be doing it the rest of the year. Now, I think there's a fair question out there. Can we trust Jwan Jennings in the X position? I understand that I totally understand that position. Just to give you a quick reminder of what Jwan Jennings looks like in the X position back when he played it on the regular for the Tennessee Volunteers. Here's a quick little look at it. He's on the bottom of the screen, by the way. There you go. So do you trust that guy to go up there and make that catch? I think you do. I mean, it sure looks like you do. In that moment, they did, and I don't see why not. Jwan Jennings has been outstanding for the 49ers ever since he came in. He's been super, super valuable last year, especially third and Jwan. That's how he got the nickname, all that good stuff. And then, of course, in the Super Bowl, he was massively important. And the 49ers win that game. He's definitely in the conversation for one of the most valuable players on the field that day. But Jwan Jennings this year, things are looking different. And I would understand if you were like, yeah, that's college. I mean, it's just college, right? And he really hasn't had the numbers in the NFL to really back up him being a starting player at the X position. And if you want to make that kind of argument, I understand what you're trying to do there. I get what you're trying to say. So let's go ahead. If we're going to talk about numbers, talk about the numbers of Jwan Jennings this season, where most of the games, he's not the most talented player on the field. He's not the biggest wide receiver on the field. He's not even out there as many snaps as all the other guys. And here's what his stats look like so far this season. When Jwan Jennings is on the field this season, averaging 71 receiving yards per game, targeted on 26% of his routes, and 2.84 yards per route run, just below Justin Jefferson there. So that's not too bad there. I know they're just stats, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to approach it from every angle for you because I know those feelings that you might have there. Okay. Now, all of that, of course, comes down to what can he do against the Seattle Seahawks? Because at the end of the day, it's always the next game. It's always the next big moment. And Jwan Jennings being out there as the X guy is going to obviously change the way that defenses play against him. And they clearly did not respect him the way that they do now. At the beginning of the season, even when he went out there in games when Deebo and Kittle were out, for example, and he went out there and just had incredible production. So I found this good article Wayne Brown wrote for 49ers Web Zone, and I want to give you just take it from him, all right? You don't trust me? That's fine. Take it from this guy, because this is pretty interesting what he had to say about keys to the game against the Seattle Seahawks and how important it is for Jwan Jennings to fit in that mix. Here's what he had to say. Number one, talking about rhythm. Brock Purdy is undefeated against the Seattle Seahawks, including playoffs. Getting into a rhythm early in the game will be pivotal for the 49ers. Whether it's a pass or run, expect Purdy and the offense to execute Kyle Shanahan's play calls to perfection. The Seahawks defense has weak spots, and we expect Purdy to take advantage of them with quick, accurate throws, checkdowns, and screen passes. If the 49ers run the ball successfully against the Seahawks, it will set up the play-action passing, and it could be a massive day for George Kittle and Jwan Jennings down the middle of the field. Purdy and the 49ers rhythm are crucial keys in establishing victory, which is where I come to you guys. I agree with all this, but where do you guys sit? Let me know in the comments what you think about Jwan Jennings' importance, going into this game. Obviously, you can't understate how important George Kittle is to this offense. Then you add in that Jwan Jennings is having a good year when given the opportunity. I know there's a little bit of a concern at the beginning of the week around that ankle injury, but then everything was looking really good. And as I showed you on the beginning of the show, the 49ers expect Jwan Jennings to be ready to go. He's not on the injury report, and he will play on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. I was trying to pull that back on the screen there as I was saying it to you, but there you go. There's the man, ready to go, ready to take it on, and I'm excited about it. You should be too, I think. So you've got Jwan Jennings in the X position. You have George Kittle out there, of course, and then you have Deebo Samuel, who also wasn't on the injury report list, which was fantastic news. Then you get to Ricky Pearsall, who's in there at times, not going to be in there as much as your X guy, but my goodness, has he shown how valuable he can be as that third wide receiver, four wide receiver, whenever he's out there, okay? The bottom line for me, I think that the 49ers are in a really good position with all of these weapons to have Kittle, Deebo. Oh, yeah, that's why I was like, why am I counting four receivers? Sorry, third receiver. You get what I'm saying, though. Three receiver sets with a tight end, all that good stuff. So Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Jwan Jennings. These are all guys who can go up and get a ball in different situations, which is exactly what you want. You have a very diverse set of guys. You got George Kittle, who's an absolute man beater, okay? You have Jwan Jennings, who seems to find incredible gaps when he runs his routes, which is obviously some credit to Kyle Shanahan out there for what he does in getting guys open. Then you add that Christian McCaffrey is back, that he was on the injury report list, technically speaking, but in that normal ramp up, he had limitations, but he had no setbacks. So really good situation playing out for him on his journey back to finding his full rhythm. So I think everything looks perfect for how the offense, as good as it can look. Obviously, you'd love to have a healthy Brandon Aiyuk out there, but we haven't seen a healthy Brandon Aiyuk this whole season, to be fair. So, you know what? Sucks for him to be injured. Don't want him out there, but you do feel comfortable with the guys that are out there ready to catch the ball, ready to run the ball, all that good stuff. Kyle Shanahan also talked today a little bit about mixing it up in terms of the run game. It looks like Isaac Guerendo, Jordan Mason will get a couple more looks than they did last week, but a lot of it's going to be dependent on how the game goes and how things are setting up. And I do understand that. It makes a lot of sense. Also talked about how he would like to do some more rotation, but just with the way he's doing play calling and the way that he calls plays when Christian's on the field, that he kind of has to count on him being out there when he's calling certain plays. So it is really tricky for Kyle Shanahan to not have Christian McCaffrey out on the field in a running back position. So you understand the complexity there, right? But you do want to see Jordan Mason. You do want to see Isaac Guerendo continue to get reps because they have been pretty valuable so far this season when needed. So if we can get them in there, maybe save a few reps on Christian McCaffrey's legs, that would be nice as well. And use Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey in some ways that are creative and fun. I'd like to see Deebo turn some jet sweeps into something valuable. Haven't seen it in a little while now. So I'm excited that he's healthy. We'll see how things shake up and how this defense can handle so many weapons and so much creativity coming out of the offense with Kyle Shanahan calling the plays and so many talented players ready to make plays. I'm excited about it. Oh, one more play about Jwan Jennings that we kind of forget to talk about. When he goes out there and he looks like he's about to go to the sideline and then gives it an extra like 8 to 10 yards, something like that, that puts, I almost said Wisnowski, that puts Jake Moody in a better field goal position, which in that game we definitely needed, and he hits the game winner. So I'm optimistic about all of this, guys. I'm feeling really good about where we're going and how things are shaping up in this game against the Seattle Seahawks, which is so critically important. That's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Look forward to joining you there. As always, what a time to be alive.